Welcome to Cobra Corner, your connection for Parkland athletics. Joining me on today's show is men's basketball coach here at Parkland College, Anthony Figueroa. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. Good to see you again.
All right, so year two for you here at Parkland. What's been the difference between year one and year two for you?
I think the biggest difference is stress. Where before last year everything was brand new and everybody was excited. First conference game was exciting, first road game was exciting. Now it's just stress worrying about the first road game, the first conference game, and how we're gonna beat the next opponent and how we're gonna prepare and make sure everybody's doing what they need to do academically. So it's probably more stressful this year, where last year was a little bit more exciting.
All right. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. I just thought we'd let the viewers at home talk a little bit about your coaching philosophy and kind of how do you like to run your team and defense, offense, all that kind of stuff.
Well, I think one of the big things we harp on a day-to-day basis is just competing, going as hard as you can for as long as you can, and that's on both sides of the ball. In any drill, just shooting, passing, whatever we're doing, just to make sure we're trying our best to be perfect at it and to go as hard as we can. And usually, if you do things in that way, it doesn't guarantee success, but it definitely helps it out.
All right, I want to talk a little bit about your background, like kind of how you ended up here coaching at Parkland and who some of your mentors might have been.
Well, I'm from Champaign. I went to Centennial, so a big influence there was my high school coach, Coleman Carradine. He was,
of course,
a tough individual when it came to playing for him. So I don't know if I'm quite to his status yet in terms of being tough on my guys, but when I look back on the times there, he definitely helped prepare me for the rest of my life with the way that he coached us. So from Centennial, I went off to school at Chicago State and ended up getting my degree at Millikan. So I've had some different guys along the way in terms of coaching styles. When at Chicago State, we had an ex-NBA player, so his was a little bit more laid back, and it was definitely an adjustment for me coming from high school. I've coached under Tim Lavin, who's at Centennial now, who's had a ton of success, and some of his concept offensively and defensively have definitely came into play as I've moved on in my coaching career.
All right. So as a coach, what's one of your favorite things?
I think just being able to stay close to the game is the biggest. We were on the bus coming back from a road trip in which we had won the game, and the guys were enjoying their win on the bus, and I said to Coach Bowie, our assistant, like, man, I kind of miss that. Miss being able to just act like a knucklehead on the back of the bus after you won a game and not have to worry about the coach yelling at you, because you did win.
Right.
That camaraderie, that brotherhood is one of the things that I still enjoy. Going into battle with 15 other guys, having one common goal, trying to beat the other team, it makes it fun. And then there's a lot of things that from a more adult standpoint, seeing a kid get better, seeing a young man grow, seeing them mature, seeing them reach some of their goals that they talked about when you were recruiting them. Those are also some big things that I enjoy.
All right, very good. Well, you guys are 11-4 right now. I've won 5 games in a row, off to about the midway point of the season, so you guys are off to a pretty good start. What do you like about your team so far?
I like that we had some struggles early where we started out 0-3, and the guys didn't fold, they didn't pout, they came back, and I think we won 6 or 7 straight. So that shows you a little bit of what they're made of to say, hey, we can still get it done. So at this point, I'm happy with the way we bounced back from we had a tough schedule early, and we knew it going in, and I think we came out probably close to where we should have been with our performances. We probably could have stole maybe one more in there, but we're 11-4 like you said, but it changes all now once we start conference play. So you can throw all of that back out the window, and you got to get better in a hurry.
Okay, yeah, you're getting ready to start MWAC play. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's talk about your roster a little bit. It's a good balance. You got 8 sophomores and 6 freshmen. Kind of maybe talk about some of your key starters.
Well, we in recruiting, we tried to get it balanced out to where we had pretty much even. So that way, next year we had a group returning that could carry us for a little bit until the new guys next year got acclimated to college basketball. We start 5 sophomores right now. All of those guys are returners, so they have a very good idea of what it is we're trying to do on and off the court. And then some of our new guys, Travis Hardcastle's a freshman that's really kind of surprised us a little bit. We knew he had some talent, obviously, but he stepped up in some big games a little bit more than we had anticipated. And then Caprice Salinas, kid from Milwaukee, he's played really well off the bench. He's been a little ill over the break, so he had to miss a couple games. But he's on his way back. And then going back to those 5 sophomores, Bo Swinford, Lance McGee, Nate Tidwell, Ian Randolph, and Shane Sr. have been huge for us. Shane recently verbally committed to Chicago State University.
Oh,
he's had a great year. He's had some monster games. Lance and Nate have both been putting up some good numbers, where Bo and Ian are kind of our steady guys that fit the role when they need to and can step up and score when asked.
And it's always good for Parkland when you can show people that you got someone going off to a 4-year school too.
Yeah, and there'll be some more guys. There'll be some more guys. It's just right now Shane wanted to make that move early. Sure. He wanted to get it out the way he was comfortable. Him and his family visited there and he was comfortable. So he said that's where he wanted to be, which is we're happy for him.
All right, so we talked about MWAC play getting ready to start up. Who are some of the teams you're looking out for in the conference play?
Every single one. Our conference is going to be very, very competitive. We've pretty much seen everybody, through our travels here, to some of our early tournaments, and it really may sound cliche, but we can beat anybody on our schedule, and anybody can beat us on our schedule. So we've got to be prepared night in and night out, especially mentally. You have to be prepared to execute your game plans, and you have to know who you're guarding and just know all the details of the game so you can pull out a victory.
Okay, so you say you've seen some of these other schools. Have you played some of them already and it
No.
didn't count as conference, or you just saw them like at other tournaments?
No, we just saw them at other tournaments,
Yeah.
and some of the exhibition stuff that we do,
Okay.
we try to keep an eye out.
Sure.
But no, we try to make sure we don't play anybody before we have to.
Right.
Considering we're going to see them twice in conference and then possibly a third time when we reach the regional tournament.
Right. It's a 6-team conference, is that right?
Yes.
And so you play every team twice?
Yep.
So you're going to do a little round robin there, huh? Okay, all right. So as the season's kind of going to finish up here, you're always looking towards March as far as college basketball goes. What do you think your team needs to do to get where you want to be in March?
Well, I think what we need to continue to do is get better on the defensive end. We're trying to shore some things up there. We've talked about it a lot in the last few weeks of practice, and then continue to get a lot of shots up. We need to get our shooting percentages up because we have some guys that can make shots, and we just haven't. I don't know if it's a mental thing, but we haven't been focused enough shooting the percentage that I think they're capable of shooting. So those would be 2 big keys for us. And like everybody else in the country, you just got to continue to get better.
All right. Let's talk about your coaching staff a little bit. I know Cleco Bowie is one of the guys that helps you out there.
Yep, we got Cleco Bowie and Charles Warren. Cleco's more of the veteran statesman. He was a terrific basketball player in high school, college, and professionally. So his knowledge, his angles to coach are very noteworthy. And then Charles is the young, enthusiastic guy that sometimes you got to get him to calm down a little bit. He's so into it. He could probably still play. He still does. So they both bring different mindsets to the practices and to the games, which is good because they give me different opinions to have to choose from and try to figure things out. They were also very important. This first semester, our team was able to get a 3.0 GPA, and our assistants have a lot to do with that, running study hall, checking in on the guys, just talking to them to see about their classes. So I'm very appreciative that we have both of those guys on staff to help us with on-the-court stuff and also off the court.
And you talk about the academic side of stuff. You're not just responsible for your athletes. You're actually responsible for all of Parkland's athletes.
Well, yeah, that's my full-time gig here at Parkland is the athletic academic monitor. Just this morning was meeting with students on my way here. So it's interesting because I do get to meet all of the athletes, and you get to know so many different people, and it keeps you on point in how to communicate with people from different areas, different backgrounds. So it is interesting and fun at the same time.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for being on the show, and congratulations with the start of your season. And hopefully, we'll be talking about you guys in March.
Hopefully.
All right. We'll be right back with the women's basketball coach, Mike Lindeman.
Catch live play-by-play coverage of Parkland sports. Live the action live. CobraSports.net.
Get the ball rolling to a new career with an Eastern Illinois University degree at Parkland College.
Parkland and Eastern really made it work for me.
Now I'm taking Eastern classes on Parkland's campus. I'm working on my bachelor's degree from Eastern without commuting.
Thanks to Parkland and Eastern, I'm reaching my goals.
For more on Eastern at Parkland, call 217-351-2543.
Welcome back to Cobra Corner. I'm joined now by the new women's basketball coach here at Parkland College, Mike Lindeman. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
All right, so you're right in the middle of your first year here at Parkland. How are things going so far?
Good, good. I think we've used a little bit of Coach Redeker's philosophy in the past and added a little bit of my new stuff and just tried to roll on to keep the tradition at Parkland.
Yeah, so obviously Coach Redeker moved on, but she had a very successful tenure here at Parkland. But you worked with her for, you said, 6 years?
For 5 years, and then this is my first year as head coach. Yep.
Okay. Do you think it's been beneficial that you have been kind of involved in her system and the kids know you and everything?
Yeah, definitely. And I think one of the things that she always helped is I wasn't just the assistant coach on the sideline, as I would do some practices, do some prepping and things like that. So that prepared me pretty well for the head job here.
Okay, so how did you get into coaching?
Actually, I started out with I coached at Champaign Central for 7 years, and my daughter came up through the ranks of, through Edison Middle School, Champaign Central, and coached there. And then when she went off to college, I thought I would resign and leave and watch her play more. And then Coach Redeker gave me a deal I couldn't refuse to come out here. So so I went basically from there to here.
Okay. Okay, so as a coach, what's your favorite thing? When you think about coaching, what's your favorite thing about being involved with girls basketball?
It's just the interaction with the kids, I think, and trying to teach them. And obviously, it's a little different than high school with the college program. And it's hard for me because I try to give them a fine line. They're in between those. They're just out of high school, but yet now they're adults and they're out for their first time. And having 3 daughters, I kind of can relate to that experience, so I think I help a little bit in that respect too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is like having your own daughters that have grown up is probably pretty helpful as a coach in dealing with the girls, probably. Right,
and my middle daughter went through the junior college ranks and played at a junior college, and so I had a good relationship with that coach, and so it was fun. I mean, I enjoyed watching it and being part of it.
Okay, so you got the job here at Parkland. You sat down. What did you kind of think of what your goals for the season were going to be?
Well, I think our number one goal each year is to win the MWAC, and we feel like if we win the MWAC, we put ourselves in position to be at least in the top 3 in our region, which is where you want to be because you get a home game, and then you move on to the Final Four there and see where the chips fall, and hopefully go to nationals. I mean, that's kind of your long-term goal, and sure. It's obviously it's a month longer season than the high school season, and getting the girls to buy into that for that long a time is sometimes a little challenging because a lot of them right now, from when we started, they'd be finishing their high school season right now. Right. So we've got another 5 weeks to go, and they're doing well though. Good, good. Well, let's talk about your season a little bit. You guys are 14-6. Yep. You've won 8 games in a row. Yep. What do you like about your team so far? Well, I think our bench has been huge. I mean, we play 9, 10, 11 kids, and they all contribute. And honestly, we started out 6-6, and 3 of the teams that we played were ranked 6th or higher in the nation, and we played them all pretty tough. So I felt pretty good, coming out of that. Although I would have liked to have won a couple of those games, but and then then we played some Division I schools that we played pretty well, and so I felt pretty good. And then we hit a stretch of games that we thought we could play pretty well. And now that we're in conference, every game's a tough game now that you're in conference.
Okay, so you say you go pretty deep on your roster there. You got 6 sophomores and 7 freshmen. Is that right?
We have. Let me think now.
That's what I saw on the roster.
Yeah, and we had a couple of. We only have 3 returning from last year.
Okay.
But we had 3 sophomores come in that have contributed huge, coming into the program that have transferred from other schools.
Okay, so let's just talk a little bit about your roster more specifically, then talk about your sophomores then.
Okay, well, we have the 3 returning ones are Amy Iverson. She's our point guard. She's quick. She does a tremendous job, running the floor. And then Erin Kelly, who is our 2-person, our shooting guard, and she's actually signed with SIU Edwardsville already and moving on, so which is what we try to get our kids to that next level, and she's having a good season, and then Josie Clock is the other returner, and she's really the trooper because she's really came here as a guard, and with our system that we're running, she's kind of playing our guard, she's playing our post, she's kind of playing our forward, and she's doing a great job at all 3. So,
and what about some of your new
And then we got 3 transfers. Jerica Hawkins, which we recruited before, is an incoming sophomore that's from Decatur, and she's been very good and quick, uses her quickness, and she's one of the starters. Ashley Walker from Leroy has come in. She comes off the bench and does a great job. She's a quick scorer. She gets things going for us and up and down the floor a lot. And actually one of the other transfers that actually came late was Chelsea Cross, who's actually a freshman that's really helped. She's a Centennial product, and we didn't really recruit her because she had signed with Truman State, and it just didn't work out when she first got there, and she's done real well. And then we have another Champaign Central person, Kiwani Garris, that transferred in that backs up Amy at the point guard and does, so it's you're not missing anything when you put one in for the other.
It's always good to get some of the local talent into
Correct.
Parkland
Yes.
as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about your coaching staff a little bit. Since you talked about your roster, I saw you got 3 coaches helping you out: Dave Ellers, Bill Dobrik, and Jeff Turner.
Yeah, and Dave's got a ton of experience from different high schools. I don't know. It'd probably be better to tell you the schools he hasn't coached at than he has, because he's been around quite a bit. He's down from Unity, and he does a great job of everything I ask, and he runs some of the practices and things like that. So he does a tremendous job. And then Bill Dobrik has been with us. So Dave's new this year. Bill Dobrik was on the staff the last 2 years, and he's primarily our recruiting person, and he does a lot of the recruiting. I have a hard time with some of the other jobs I have to get out and get as many games as I want to see, although I try to go to them. But Bill kind of oversees all that as well as his coaching duties, and he loves it. He goes to games about every night, so he does a relentless job on that. And then Jeff Turner came on. He and Dave are close friends, and Jeff's had a lot of experience. He does Blue Star in the summer. He's worked out at St. Thomas More. He's worked down at Unity, and he's actually a volunteer, and we'll hopefully try to get him on the payroll next year. But he comes to everything and helps a lot with all the practice plans and things like that.
Good. You have 3 good people to help you out. That's always nice.
It's always as good as your coaching staff.
That's right. So, okay, you talked about the MWAC a little bit. You guys are 2-0 so far. So talk about the rest of your MWAC schedule and what kind of teams you're looking for as far as might.
Well, we're just into it, but it's it's a good league. I mean, there's a couple of teams that might be down a little bit, and then there's a couple. I think it's going to be kind of a 2 or 3-way battle. I think Danville's very strong, and we play them coming up, and that'll be a good game. And Lincoln Land is always good, and John Wood has always had a very good team. So it'll be an interesting MWAC conference year.
Okay, how about Region 24? Is there a few teams that aren't in the conference? I know Region
there are.
24.
There's 2. There's Lakeland College, which we played earlier this year. We played them like the 3rd game, and according with the point system, how it works, we only play those teams once, which everybody in our conference we play twice. Okay. So based on the point system, and they only play us once. So we were fortunate to beat Lakeland the first time. We played really well, so we got a leg up on them, and then we play ICC, who's ranked currently, I think, 3rd or 4th in the country. We have a home date with them coming up in a couple of weeks or so, and depending on how we feel like if we can win our conference, and that obviously puts us, and since we've already beaten Lakeland, that would put us no worse than a 2 seed, which is kind of where you'd want to be, because that, if you're a top 4 seed, it guarantees you a home game that first round, and then the regionals are actually in Mattoon at Lakeland this year.
I know Region 24 historically a very strong region for girls basketball. So what do you think overall when you look at the full season? What do you guys need to do to accomplish that goal of getting to nationals?
I mean, that's obviously one of our main goals is to get to nationals, and I think just to get the girls to buy into working, they obviously give everything they got during the games and things like that, and we're just trying to carry that over into practice, and sometimes it's work, because sometimes they'll practice the day before a game not very well and they don't play very well that day, and we try to emphasize that every day you have a chance to improve at practice, and that's what we want you to do. And if they do that, I think we're in position to be where we want to be come regional and get into national time.
All right, so halfway through your first year here at Parkland, you've had a lot of coaching experience. Is there something you learned this year that was,
Oh, geez, you learn every year. I mean, that's just, it's, the thing that I've always done is I've kind of been a consistent coach, and I don't want to be as somebody coaching against me. I don't want somebody to look at me and say, oh, he's always going to do this and always going to do that. So I'm really trying to work hard on changing some things up, whether it's in the game and things like that. But the girls have to buy into that too. And then sometimes, you get a group of kids that can really buy into that, and sometimes they don't really understand what you're talking about. But I like to do my system, but I like to make little tweaks and changes there that are fun for the girls because it's something different for them, but actually changes something up for the teams that we play against.
All right, well, thanks for being on the show, and welcome to Parkland.
Sure, thank you very much.
All right, that's it for this episode of Cobra Corner. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.